Hey everyone. Yeah, if I'm a little tired, I apologize for that. But I thought I'd come on here and I thought I'd come out here and basically talk about basically my thoughts and predictions on NXT on SmackDown Live's pay-per-view upcoming this Sunday, Hell in a Cell. And basically, like I said, kind of give my thoughts on how I think it's going to go, what may happen, and stuff like that, match by match. So, with that said, I'm going to try to run down the card here. And give you my thoughts on them. First off, we have the Kickoff show match, which is the Hype Bros against Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin, which I believe you could see right here or right here, depending on where it appears. I look at this as, even though it's a Kickoff show match, and it might be good, I look at this as being like the final nail in the coffin, either for the Hype Bros as a team, with Ryder or even Mojo going heel against one another, or against the other, or the final nail in the coffin of, for them as a babyface tag team, and to where this might be, even if it's a Kickoff show match, it might be the match where they turn heel as a team. Not saying either one of them won't turn against each other, won't turn on the other, but in my opinion, I think this will be the final nail in the coffin for the team as either baby faces or as a team legitimately, with one turning on the other. And of course that means I definitely see Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin going over in this matchup. Sorry about that. Now, as we get into Hell in a Cell, we know that one of the matches to kick off Hell in a Cell, according to Deluxe-Man, is going to be the Tag Team Championship match, because you want to get the audience off the feet. And if the Kickoff show match doesn't do that, this match would. The Usos against the New Day. And a lot of people were predicting that these guys would face each other again in the Hell in a Cell, because it's the most natural. It's naturally the next step in progression in this rivalry. I look at this as being not only the what's this saying, the electricity that's going to be needed to jumpstart that audience and get them really into this event, get them on their feet, get them anticipating every match to come afterwards. But I got a feeling this will be one of those Hell in a Cell matches to where you may get some spots within the cell instead of out. One thought that came to my mind is Kofi Kingston climbing on the side of the Hell in a Cell, and then maybe jumping onto the roof and kind of doing something like this. Kind of going across the roof, if you will, like this, looking down, and then dropping down onto one of the Usos, if not both the Usos. So, I expect something like that. Do I expect any damage to the cell? Not particularly, because I think they're going to save that for later on. But if I was to look at this overall, I would definitely say I definitely agree with the Lex-Man here, with Alex here. I see this as being a Match of the Year candidate, possibly, after it's all said and done. I also see this as being probably Match of the Night, and being probably the match that a lot of the superstars in the back are going to be like, great, how do we follow that? And they're going to have to. They're going to have to figure out, okay, we know what we're going to do, but how do we top what they just did? So I expect a show stealer right from the start when the pay-per-view officially begins. And I expect the New Day to retain. And here's why. Here's why. You're starting to try to rebuild your tag team division on SmackDown, more so than on Raw. With the Fashion Police, being put into a segment late, on that night, probably finding out who's been thrashing the Office, possibly being Harper and Rowan. So you got two parts. So you got two teams there. You got a possibility of keeping the Hype Bros together as a heel team. You got the possibility, you got Chad Gable, Shelton Benjamin. You got the Ascension, yes, you still have them. And then you have New Day and Usos. So you're doing whatever it takes to rebuild that SmackDown Live tag team division. And to me, the New Day winning here is probably the best way to do it, because if you want to turn the Hype Bros heel, that's your next opponents for New Day right there. No doubt about it. That is your next challengers for the SmackDown Live tag team titles. So I definitely want to see New Day. I definitely hope and predict. In fact, I pretty much know New Day is going to win. If not, then in a sense, if you put the belts back on the Usos, the logical sense for them as far as challengers go would be Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin. I'm just saying. But yeah, I pretty much believe that the New Day is going to win this, and this is going to be the match that gets people on their feet. It's going to be the match that's going to be hard to top, except maybe for the other Hell in a Cell. And it's going to be a show stealer, match of the year candidate, and match of the night. There's no doubt about that. Now, moving on, the next match is one that was recently added, and that's Randy Orton and Rusev. I don't know where they're going to go with this one. Both men kind of have quick wins over the other, so I would expect to kind of balance that out. We're going to have a regular matchup here, not a quick one, just a regular one-on-one match. I don't know what direction they're going to go in as far as these two go. But I would expect that if you're going to put Rusev over Randy, and you're including Aiden English as sort of like a lackey now, or a sidekick, or occasional tag partner of Rusev, then that would be one way of doing it. But I don't really know what they're going to do here. Because obviously they still want to get behind Rusev. They still see something with Rusev, despite the fact that he's been in the doghouse several times because of what he's done outside the company along with Lana. I don't really know. I can't really say exactly what they plan to do here. It's kind of a toss-up, but this is one I can't really pick. Even if, I know, and it's not because, it's a last-minute addition. It's not that. It's the fact that I legitimately don't know who to go with here. I really don't. I mean, I've been a fan of Randy Orton's for years. I really have been. I like his in-ring style. I like the fact that he could be who he is, either as a heel or a face. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I like the fact that he has a decent in-ring presentation as far as a wrestler goes, athleticism, if you will. But I really don't know if he's going to be the one to choose. I don't know if I should I would predict him to go over or Rusev. People would say Rusev needs it more than Randy, and I would agree with that. But I don't really know here. Does WWE still see something in Rusev, despite what the doghouse he's been in several times? Or do they still want to keep them, kind of get Randy back on track to keep him in that main event picture? I really don't know. So this matchup, wherever you see the picture at, it's a toss-up. Alright, the next match. Bobby Roode, Dolph Ziggler. You know, a lot of people predicted that this was going to happen because Bobby Roode would come out either because Dolph would imitate his entrance or because of the fact that Bobby is getting sick and tired of Dolph coming out here and running his mouth and all that. Look, I think the Lex man, Alex, said it best. He likes what they're doing with Dolph as far as the story goes. If Dolph is done with the company, if he is done with the company and he's going to go either onto the Indies, to New Japan, Impact Wrestling, Ring of Honor, PWG, over to the UK like with WCPW, who knows, then this is a good story for him to go out on, because legitimately, when you think about it, a lot of the men and the women in the back at WWE, backstage at WWE, whether they admit it or not, feel pretty much the same way. They pretty much feel that the way you should appreciate them is not because of the gimmick, not because of the entrance, but because of the fact that they are because of the fact that they go in the ring and get it done in there. That's how you should appreciate them. And I like this. And I agree. I like the storyline they're giving Dolph to probably go out with. The fact that you should appreciate the wrestler and not the entrance. You should appreciate the wrestling and not the gimmick that the wrestler, or you should appreciate the wrestling more so than the sport, than the entertainment. You should appreciate the wrestling more so than the entrance. Or you should appreciate the wrestler more so than than their entrance. I mean, when you think about it, why do you think he's been impersonating all these legends and current stars' entrances? Why do you think he's done this? Because he wants to prove that anybody could do those entrances, but nobody can do what he does in the ring. In other words, he's saying, hey, Shawn Michaels and Triple H can do the DX stuff all they want. They are not better than me in the ring. They cannot do what I do in the ring. They cannot out-wrestle me. Same with John Cena. You know, he can come out, he can say, yeah, John can come out and do this entrance, anybody could, but he is not the best. He cannot beat me in the ring. He cannot out-wrestle me in the ring. Same thing with Warrior, Savage, Taker. Pretty much he's saying those guys could do the entrances all they want. When it comes to in-ring performance, no one can touch him. So, I think in a sense, Dolph's gimmick right now, his storyline, is sort of a metaphor. When you think about it, it's sort of a metaphor by the WWE towards us. I mean, not all of us, but basically to the hardcore fans. The hardcore fans that appreciate the wrestling over the sports entertainment portion. In other words, they'd rather see wrestling instead of 10 to 15 minute in-ring promos. They'd rather see wrestling instead of backstage interviews they could see on the Titantron. They'd rather see wrestling non-stop. And I think that's sort of what Dolph's story right now is. It's a metaphor for the hardcore fans, or us wrestling fans, that appreciate the wrestling more so than anything else. They go to enjoy the wrestling more than anything. So for them to give Dolph this gimmick or this storyline, I think it's really appreciative of them to do, because I think this is how Dolph really feels, and they're saying, look, whether you stay with us or not, here's something to kind of allow you to get your frustrations out. The frustrations you and probably a lot of fans have. And that's why he's got this. That's why he's got this gimmick, the storyline going. Now, as far as the match goes, I would expect a decent match between the two. I really do. I expect a decent match. And in the end, I do agree that if you're going to keep the momentum with Bobby Roode, because, come on, Bobby Roode has been undefeated, I think, since he's been on SmackDown Live. So why would you want to destroy that momentum? I think what we get here is not the beginning, is not the end, but the beginning of a short-term feud and rivalry between the two that may culminate in another match either on SmackDown Live or at Survivor Series, either in a Survivor Series elimination tag team match or a one-on-one match or something. So I would expect that. I would expect that this would be the beginning, and at the end, the beginning of a short-term rivalry and feud, and at the end will probably be somewhere on SmackDown Live or at Survivor Series, either in an elimination tag match or some kind of gimmick match. But yeah, again, I understand what what Deluxe Man says when you got to appreciate what they're doing with Dolph here, even if this is his swan song with the company, because this is basically a metaphor for not just Dolph himself and maybe some of the men and the women in the back at WWE, but also for the fans that prefer the wrestling over the gimmick, if you know what I mean. So bleh, easy for me to say. I'm tired. I worked today. But what I'm saying, I do predict Bobby Roode to go over Dolph Ziggler in probably what could be the second best match of the night, if not the third best match, and I'll get into that in a moment. Alright. Now, the next match, Charlotte versus, I don't know why Ringside News has it posted like this, but Charlotte versus Natalya for the Women's Championship, the SmackDown Live Women's Championship. Again, at first you look at this match and just like with Randy and Rusev, it's like it's a toss-up. You don't want to take the belt off Natalya just yet, because she just got it at SummerSlam. But then again, I don't know what you do here. Really, I don't. I mean, she won the belt at SummerSlam, but according to what some people have said, she hasn't really done much as far as being SmackDown Women's Champion. And being a fan as long as I have, when a situation like what's been going on with Charlotte, as far as her dad is concerned, happens behind the scenes, this company always seems to show favoritism to that individual. And especially at the same time that individual has a book coming out or a movie coming out or whatever, they sometimes show favoritism to them, not just because of that publicity, but because, like I said, what happened behind the scenes from a personal standpoint. So, knowing how the WWE works in those manners, I wouldn't be surprised if Charlotte does go over here. I think, in a sense, you want to play up the fact that every time there's a championship match between the two, Charlotte's the one that always wins. Natalya can never find a way to win. And if that's what they're going to play up to, that Natalya has to either get herself counted out, disqualified, use some kind of object or whatever to keep her championship or beat Charlotte. If you want to keep that storyline going that she can't beat Charlotte one-on-one in a fair and square, then I'd say go ahead and do it. Because because here's the thing, why is Charlotte back so soon? And why put her in this position? It's real simple. Because it's real simple. You're planning to put WWE, as far as SmackDown Live is concerned, is planning to put the belt on her. They're planning to put the belt on her, and I wouldn't mind seeing it, you know, but the question is, you know, do you take it? Is this the time to take the belt off Natalya? And again, from a storyline perspective, you know, if you're going with the fact that Natalya could never beat Charlotte as far as championship matches are concerned, then I say, okay, go ahead, go for it. You know, put the belt on Charlotte, continue that storyline. But again, I don't know what they're going to do, because again, it's too soon to take. A lot of people are saying it's too soon for Natalya to lose that championship. But then again, you have this personal situation that happened with Charlotte and her father, with Charlotte's father, someone that's very close friends with the COO of the company. You know, what do you do? My logical thought on this is you keep the belt on Natalya. You let herself get disqualified or counted out. You have the rematch booked for Survivor Series, but here's what you do. You have Natalya not only put the championship on the line, but you have her put her career on the line. Hear me out. Natalya pretty much boasts every time that she's the more deserving women's champion. She's more deserving than anybody. She's been there longer. She's the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. So, if you're WWE, and you want to get some mileage out of a Natalya title run, but you also want to put the belt on Charlotte, I say wait to Survivor Series to do it, and do it in a match that makes it more epic, makes it more special, makes it more must-watch. In other words, make it a career-ending match. In other words, a retirement match. Or whatever you want to call it. A retirement match. Basically, whoever loses has to retire. And I'm looking at the fact that the WWE has all their eggs in a basket for Charlotte. They're all behind Charlotte. So why not have Natalya keep the belt to Survivor Series and then have her drop it to Charlotte there and then go out on a high note. At least go out knowing that her last match was defending the Women's Championship, one of the Women's Championships of WWE. Let her at least go out knowing that she came into her last match as a champion and that she's going to retire as a champion, but not with the championship because she just lost it or something like that. I think that's the best direction for them to go in as far as this feud goes. So, again, it's up to WWE what they want to do on Sunday, but if I was booking it, I'd say keep the belt on Natalya, have her drop it at Survivor Series, but have her drop it in a match that basically puts the careers of both women on the line. I think that's more befitting hitting for this Hearts Flair rivalry as far as these two are concerned. That's just my take on it. Alright. United States Championship. Baron Corbin challenging AJ Styles. Again, I don't know where WWE is going to go with this. Logical sense would say keep the belt on AJ and have him drop it maybe on the same night you would have Natalya drop the Women's Championship, and that being Survivor Series. But how do you do that? How do you do that? Who do you do it against? You know what I'm saying? See, that's all up in the air. Now, prediction-wise, I would go with AJ. Because I think AJ is probably a more legitimate champion. people get a kick out of the whole U.S. Open Challenge when it's done right, whether it's him or someone like Cena. So I think that would be one reason to keep the belt on AJ. Another reason is if you put the belt on Baron, where do you go from there? Yeah, you have AJ face him in a rematch, but even if you have AJ face him in a rematch and lose, where do you go from there with him? Do you put the belt, do you have him feud with Ty Dillinger? I'm just saying. I'm just saying, where do you go from there? You know, it's kind of like, you know, it's like, you need to have a plan for Baron. And I guess if you put the belt on him, his first legitimate challenger besides AJ is Ty Dillinger. I mean, why would they put Ty over Baron on SmackDown last night? So, that to me would be the most logical choice. Again, I can't say exactly where they're going to go here. You know, because, you know, Baron, like Rusev, has been in the Dark House several times. So I don't know if they want to entrust him with a championship reign of any kind right now. But who knows? Who knows? You know, you'll probably, you know, I know you're thinking, well, if they keep it on AJ, where does AJ go from there too? Well, if they keep the belt on AJ and he reopens the U.S. Open Challenge, that opens the door for a lot of superstars. It really does. You could have him face Dillinger again. I know people are getting tired of that, but have him face Dillinger again. You can, you know, the door is open, is what it is what I'm saying. You know, you could have him, heck, you can have him face people from NXT. You know, one thing about John Cena's U.S. Open Challenge is you never knew who was going to challenge him. And I think doing something similar with AJ would be good because that's how you could slowly start bringing stars up from NXT to SmackDown. And I think, honestly, AJ keeping the championship is the best way to do that because I think the next feud for AJ, or at least the first opponent in a U.S. Open Challenge after Hell in a Cell, man, I'd have to say you got to put him against Aleister Black. That's the logical choice right there. But again, that's just my opinion. It's like I said, it's kind of like with Charlotte and Natalya and Randy and Rusev. It's a toss-up. But we'll just have to see where WWE goes from there. You know, they go with Baron. Logical choice for him to go up against the next person logically for him to defend the title against besides AJ's Ty. That's the logical choice. But if you put the belt, keep the belt on AJ, logical choice there is continue the U.S. Open Challenge, use it to bring up stars from NXT. I mean, can you imagine how fans would feel if one of the people that answers the U.S. Open Challenge is Johnny Gargano, Johnny Wrestling, if you will, or someone like Adam Cole, or Roderick Strong, or Cassius Ohno? Can you imagine the reaction they would get on the SmackDown after Hell in a Cell? I'm just saying. So again, it's a toss-up. There are reasons they might go, like I mentioned, that they might go one way or the other. But we'll just have to wait and see. Alright, the next match, of course, is for the WWE Championship. Shinsuke Nakamura challenging Jinder Mahal. Oh, where do we go from here? A lot of people pretty much didn't like the whole, Shinsuke making, not Shinsuke, but Jinder making fun of Shinsuke's looks and race and all that for the past few weeks. I mean, I understand WWE's trying to get Jinder over as a champion, trying to get him to, I guess you could say, JBL levels as champion, maybe. But I'm in total agreement. it ain't working. It ain't working and it won't work. I mean, you want to get Jinder over as a champion? This is not the way to do it. This is not the way to do it. I mean, I'm not saying that given time, maybe given a bit more time, he can't get himself over. But this is not the time right now. It's not the time nor the place. It's just not working. And I think legitimately Shinsuke has to get the belt. He does. Now look, if you want to put the belt back on Jinder when you do the tour of India, fine. Put the belt back on Jinder at a house show, make news about it, then have Jinder drop it back to Shinsuke on an edition of SmackDown. It makes sense. Because at least you accomplish a lot of things within this time frame. You get the belt off Jinder at Hell in the Cell. You have Shinsuke hold on to it to the tour of India. At a live event, you have Jinder beat him for it. And then maybe on the first SmackDown back in the States, you have Shinsuke regain it. And you kind of kill two birds with one stone, if you will. You basically get what you want both. You basically get what you've been wanting, or what you were planning, but at the same time, you kind of give the fans what they've been you basically at the same time do what's probably the best business decision for your brand and for your company. You know, you put the belt on someone that people want to see this champion, that you know should be champion, that you know should be and has to be champion. But at the same time, you do that tour of India, and on a live event, you put the belt back on Jinder, and then, like I said, the following SmackDown Live back in the States, you put the belt back on Shinsuke. At least you're accomplishing a way to your goals of getting Jinder back there as a hero, if you know what I'm saying. So, my prediction is Shinsuke's got to go over. He's got to go over here, and he's got to go over in a dominant fashion. In other words, you can let Jinder have some offense in during the match, but it's got to be more. But it's basically got to be all Nakamura. You got to go all in here with this match. You can, like I said, you can let Jinder get in a few offensive blows here and there, but it's got to be all Nakamura. You got to show that in a fair fight, let's say the Singh brothers get banned from ringside, then a fair fight, Jinder cannot beat someone like Shinsuke Nakamura. So, I'd say my prediction is put the belt on Shinsuke, put it on him, and then if you want to make Jinder a hero doing your tour of India, you can have him win it back at a live event, and then you can have him drop it to Shinsuke on the first SmackDown Live back in the States, to kind of come full circle and accomplish your goal. So, my prediction is you got to go with Shinsuke here. There's no doubt about it. And what I've basically thrown at the WWE and you guys watching here is probably the best case scenario for them in the long run. All right, the last match, the main event. Kevin Owens, Shane McMahon, Hell in a Cell, Falls Count Anywhere. What? Falls Count Anywhere? Well, that basically throws out the probability that these guys are going on top of the freaking cell. And it's not just because Kevin Owens said he would throw Shane off it. But, oh my goodness. How do you do a Falls Count Anywhere match when you pretty much have to compete in a freaking cell a majority of the time? Unless they're leaving the door open for them to go all over the freaking place. And if there's rumors, and if the rumors are true that Owens is going to go back to Raw, then this would be a decent swan song for him as far as the SmackDown brand goes. But again, where do you go from here? I mean, not go from here, but how do you predict a match like this? I mean, some people are saying a loss to Shane won't hurt Kevin, and it probably won't. But if you're planning to keep Kevin on SmackDown Live and continue this Owens versus McMahon deal, then I'm thinking the best way is for Owens to go over Shane, probably in a way that makes it look like he's extremely dangerous. The results in him looking like he's extremely dangerous, and that he's unpredictable because you don't know what he's going to do. You got to have. I mean, let's be honest. There's going to be an OMG moment, here and there throughout this matchup. There's going to be. I mean, you can't tell me Shane ain't going to try to do what he did at WrestleMania to The Undertaker to Owens. You don't think he's not going to try to do that, right? Oh, yeah, he is. Yeah, Shane's going to do that. Shane's going to attempt to do what he tried to do to The Undertaker at WrestleMania. Let's go on top of the freaking cell and drop all the way down onto the announce table trying to hit Owens. And if he succeeds, that would be an OMG moment because I wouldn't believe someone like Kevin Owens would agree to it. But again, I don't know how to call this one. Because a lot of people are saying that Shane needs to go over because he hasn't really gone over much since he's been back at all. So going over Kevin would probably be the most logical choice, and from a story standpoint would be the most logical choice because he's finally gained revenge for his family and for everything that Kevin has done, and pretty much kind of remove Kevin from the SmackDown Live brand. So it makes sense. But if I want to continue this, and I want to involve more than just Shane, then I have Kevin go over, and maybe you throw in a little surprise stipulation that states he. How do I put this? How would this fit in with Kevin's character? Well, the way it would fit in with Kevin's character is he could have his lawyer sneak in a clause in the contract that states if he beats Shane McMahon, then at least for the next month or so, he's the commissioner. He runs things on SmackDown. And that would play into the whole storyline because you could have Kevin use that stipulation to become the commissioner, basically make everybody's life a living hell, and that when Shane does come back, Kevin could say, "See what I did? That's exactly what you did to me. Now you know how now all these superstars know how I feel. All you had to do was not screw with me, Shane, and none of this would have happened." You could do, that is what you could do. That, legitimately, as far as Kevin's character goes, that would probably be the best direction to go in with him if they decide to have him go over Shane at the Hell in the Cell. But again, that's totally up to WWE. Do they want to send the fans home happy or miserable? Do they want to send them home, in shock of what they saw, and happy that Shane won? Or do you want to see them be shocked in what they saw and angry at the fact that Kevin won? I'm just saying. Overall, I could say this. This is probably going to be one of the most brutal, physical, PG era, PG reality era, new era, Hell in the Cell matches we have seen in a long time. It is. It's going to be that bad. And I'm not talking bad as in it's going to be the worst match of the night. I'm talking bad as hold on to your socks kind of deal. But overall, it's kind of a toss-up, but I'm going to go with... Honestly, I got to go with Shane McMahon here. I mean, I would like to see Kevin win to continue the story. I would like to see him win to where, like I said, they continue the story, and maybe because of the fact that he can show up on SmackDown and say that, oh, by the way, I had my lawyers add the stipulation in the contract that if I won, I'm commissioner for 30 days. That can make for some interesting television. It really could as far as SmackDown goes. Overall, we'll just have to see what happens. I mean, I can't really say whether or not, what direction they're going to go in. Because I don't know what to expect out of this match, except it's like I said, it's going to be one of the most brutal, physically hard-hitting, PG, reality era, new era, Hell in a Cell matches we've seen in a long time. That's all I can say. That's all I can really say. So, that's about going to do it for my Hell in a Cell predictions and thoughts, my preview. Let me know what you guys think down below. Comment if you like, and I'll talk to y'all later.